Well, you're in for a treat. His name is Daryl D'Souza, and he has magnificent energy. He's wonderful. He flew here from India to speak to you. He was an industrial engineer, but he stopped doing that after 17 years to don his present avatar. He's a therapist and an alchemist. So it began a journey of, he went 14 years, he was ill, he almost lost his life in 2004, and then his radical reversal from that state, it actually taught him so much, and within just 1 year of using some wonderful natural therapies, then he decided this was going to be his life and his future. So he's been teaching about curing chronic illness through integrated, wonderful natural therapy since 2005. His book is called Become Healthy or Extinct. I love that. So he's the secretary of the World United in India. And Doctors and Healers, it's an association of doctors and healers that conducts several disease reversal programs in India. He began delivering teachings on spiritual alchemy in 2011, and he teaches about human metaphysics, universal spirituality, love, brotherhood, the collaborative aspect of consciousness, and he's a facilitator of the I Am Presence. Let's give him a hand, Daryl D'Souza.
Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters. Greetings from Goa, and that's a lovely little place in India, in the south of India, on the coast. A melting pot for many cultures in the world, especially in season time, which is from November to February, because it gets a bit cooler in those months. So we have people from all over the world coming there to enjoy the sun and sand and the local Goan hospitality. The ancient name of Goa was Gomantak. In Indian, the old languages, it means the land where the gods once walked. And it's been a few years since 2012 and the change of consciousness on this planet that I see traces of that happening again. Of course, in normal physical human bodies, we have wonderful consciousnesses who come and visit that place. And there's something going on. And it was an intuitive call in my own life to leave the city Mumbai, where I lived for most of my life, and I moved to Goa in 2011-12 to do this work on wellness and integrative healthcare. So this is what I'm going to talk about. Like many of our wonderful speakers already explained yesterday, the quest for global peace obviously begins with each one of us at home, in our own consciousness, and whether we can achieve peace and unity within. So I'm going to put a few questions and ask, why does that peace and unity, which is our natural nature, why does it disappear every now and then? And like you've heard the peace ambassadors also mention all the different reasons why the average person in their country is not at peace. Now, from so many of those reasons, things come up, whether it is local violence or the politics in our country or the silent strife or war between religions and cultures. And it may also be domestic violence or poverty. And these things are around us all the time, every day. But they come and they go. But they disturb us, and we take our disturbed selves and move on every day in life. Why don't we automatically come back to our true selves? Why do we need to go to places probably once a week where we hear a sermon that you need to be peaceful, you need to be loving, honest, compassionate, caring, accepting? And sometimes in spiritual practice, it's meditations in the morning, certain practices. And I have so many of my friends who are very proud when they say, my morning practice is of 4 hours. I do a 4 hours practice. And frankly, I'm deeply shocked inside. What is going on in their life and what are they doing that they need 4 hours every day to just be calm. And in some cultures, you will see a trend that the more disturbed they are, the more often they need to go to their places of worship and be told now and then, every time, that this is who you are and this is who you should be. And this doesn't happen for so many of us. And when I'm talking now, I'm talking about the average person in the world. So many of us have made personal progress here, but we are all here to serve the people. So I'm going to talk about the human psyche in a little more scientific and real way, and put up a couple of points here, mainly with what's got to do with the brain. And I say a simple thing about mental tension. It is just the difference between what you want and how things are. If you can accept how things are all the time, you will not have a second of worry. So this whole problem of stress is somewhere in the mind. So I'm going to start with every human brain and certain aspects of it. Now, some of you may have read these lines or heard them somewhere in a wonderful talk by neuroscientist Jill Taylor-Bolt. It was a TEDx talk where she explained this from her own experience of going through a hemorrhage in the left side of her brain, which for some time shut down the left side, which is called your logical mind, and then it came on again. So she had one hemisphere of her brain shutting down, which allowed the other hemisphere to operate and give her certain experiences. And then when the left side of the brain came on again, it brought on its experiences. So none of this is theory, it is reality. It has been proven scientifically as well. So I'm going to go a little into the human brain. And I'm going to place some attributes of the human brain. I want you to look at each word and think of what you feel about it. Now, these are two polarities of the same brain. Just reflect on what these words mean to you, whether they are you, whether they aren't you. Do you like them? Do you hate them? I love this quote in the New Age world which comes on Facebook, which says, "Logic can get you from A to B, but intuition can get you everywhere." So it's a thumbs up for intuition, meaning that intuition is given great value and logic seems to be not so great, even causing problems. Most of us, we like to believe that, yes, we want to be in the heart, of course. Universally accepted as bad vibration. This is the worst of it all. And maybe these are not exact technical opposites. You may have a little bit of difference, but that's fine. But I'm just trying to put out vibrations, human vibrations, and our relationship with each one of them. Yes, we surely know science has gone overboard. Technology is being used for war, for spying, for controlling, for monetary suppression. Now, many of you have heard the word Advaita. It means non-separatedness or oneness. And the opposite of it is Dvaita, which means individuality and separation. They are talked of as schools of philosophy and almost like a religion, Advaita. But the reality is, they are only perceptions of the human brain, both looking at the same one reality. Those of you who have your right brain more wired up and functional, you're going to be an advocate of Advaita. And if you have your left brain more wired up and functional, you're going to talk the purpose and the function of individuality. Now, even so many of our gurus and yogis on the planet clearly trying to demolish the ego, the I, the id, because most of the people on the planet have abused their egos, but they fail to understand. Even they have gods and names and archangels, right up till the Indian system that says Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. Even they are individual identities that have shape, form, and function. So are they bad? What I say about this is, yes, you can have an unhealthy ego that is not doing any good for itself and for society. And you can have a healthy ego whose every thoughts, words, and deeds serve society, the planet as well. So I don't see anything wrong with ego, but the popular definitions. It is normal human psyche. that once you do overdo an emotion or a facet or aspect of life, and it shows its negative results in the world, the next thing you want to do is demolish it, demonize it, and destroy it. Light and love. Here's the light of information and understanding, the foundation of the wisdom schools. And we all know very clear that love is everything. And coming down from vibration and value, here I'm getting into the real world, because all of this percolates human consciousness that comes out in actions, choices, vocations in life, projects, and everything. So there is something to this which I get into more detail in my spiritual courses. And here I've just put an indicative word of, on the left side, causative aspects, on the right side, experiential things. Now I'm not saying I'm talking about men on the left and women on the right. But yes, most averages in the world, men have more of the left attributes and women have more of the right. And there are many exceptions, of course. A woman who has gone through 15 or 20 years of corporate life, yes, she would be an expert in planning, using her head, working with time, scientific, and those attributes. And here is a deeper meaning of these energies, which I call energies within the human body. They exist at the microcosm, the megacosm, and the macrocosm as well. Like every one of us knows that Shiva or Shakti, the energies within the body, they're planetary energies and they're cosmic energies as well. So where do each one of us stand with these attributes? It is very easy to take a photo of this, go home, and we have a good time tick marking the ones that we are. Wow, we score good here. The deeper work is looking at the ones that you are not, that you reject. Because these are the range of human energies and they do many things in the world. What you reject, you give up as your capability and an aspect of consciousness that you do not want to experience. This is the division within every human mind and psyche. And unless we bridge this division, we are not going to see unity consciousness within our own selves. For the man who's very proud of his planning and says, to hell with intuition, I don't know what that does in the world. Why does masculine energy need to control? It is very clear. If you make a plan, you're doing it for a purpose. And if that purpose is not getting fulfilled and things are going out of line, you're automatically going to bring some degree of control. So it's part of a natural mechanism, but control becomes abusive, destroying people when it gets out of hand. So man who's too much into planning, who's too much into logic, who's too much into control, he does not appreciate the feminine attributes of freedom, intuition. Then how is he going to respect a woman who's standing in front of him across a table, whether it's a peacemaking effort or it's a project? When you don't value something in the world, you reject it from yourself, how are you going to accept it from somebody else in front of you? And this is the beginning of the war of the sexes. And similarly, from the woman's perspective also, I just go with the flow. The greatest gurus on the planet are teaching this. What has time got to do with it? Why do I need to be on time? Whatever happens, happens. And a man sitting across the table who's the director of the company, I don't need this woman working for me. So, I'm saying the war of the sexes first is healing within our own selves. And once I as a man can appreciate intuition, creativity, freedom, the aspect of being eternal, love, when I see them as values that will give me something good in life, then when a woman is across a table or in my life, I appreciate those values. I look at her like as a human being. And that's the first divide that's there in the world, and that's the first thing I think that needs to heal. And I know there's a wonderful awakening of the feminine energy on this planet. And in my projects, I even host platforms for wellness, wellness of mind, body, and spirit, and we have doctors, healers, therapists coming on it. And most of the healers and intuitive healing come from women, 90%. And, in those platforms, we have a lot of exchange. And the scientific mind learns how to be intuitive also. And the intuitive mind learns what is the purpose of logic and arrangement or time in all of this. The greater work that I do in my spiritual workshops, when I announce them, I see about 80%. If there are 20 participants, about 16 of them are always women. And men are very few. But I think the bigger work on the planet here is healing the damaged feminine energy in men. That is the bigger work on this planet. It is wonderful that women support women, and even I support women in their awakening and the empowerment. But I know that when certain side attributes go overboard, they can be damaging. This planet has experienced this once before, and most of us don't have our energetic ancient memories still alive. So we don't remember what happened at Atlantis. It was when the masculine and the feminine were each equally powerful and they faced off each other. And there was the greatest tragedy. This time consciousness, global consciousness, or the higher masters you can say, allowed, and it was orchestrated, that the masculine energy would be given a chance to play itself out and show what it was worth. And the feminine energy, being loving, compassionate, and tolerant, bowed down to that. And that's why we have an excess and over-dominance of masculine energy on the planet. That has brought so much of control, so many mind games, so much war. And it's a very sacred awakening for the feminine energy to come up now. Because the games of the masculine energy have been played and their proof has been seen and the world is being destroyed. And it is from those people who can explain cause and effect to the masculine side, that they are relenting and they are saying, yes, we were wrong. And let's give the feminine side a chance now to do what best they can. And my personal work in this is how to bring it up and bring it in balance. See, the common person may not really care about, this war of the sexes. But there's something very personal that you get from just looking at those attributes and seeing where you are weak in. And that is what I call the operating the laws of creation. What I teach about law of creation is very deep. It's something underlying, the secret, the law of attraction, the magic, the power. Those are only subparts of the law of creation that the human being in its total consciousness operates. And if you're a master of understanding both these energies, not rejecting any one of them, but using each as and when required, you become a master of flowing and a master in doing things as well. Even baking a cake, it requires more feminine energy, but yes, certain masculine energy of how much should I set the timer, what should the temperature be, but the taste and the experience of it and how it should taste, those are all experiential things which are more feminine energy. So, even, I'm going to talk of something real, even a Second World Parliament on spirituality. It has got a blend of energies that make it work. And we know there's an abundance of love here that has been put in. But on the left-hand side, the light of information and understanding, the awareness of this event, its outreach into the world, scientific application of it, and all of that, we realize that there's been a little lack there. So, in everything we do, there's a blend of these energies. And if you can look at these energies within yourself, understand the use and value of it, then everything that you do, and you can make something in such, and especially for peace ambassadors who are going out in the world, to create peace in different forms according to the situation in their country, you need a blend of these energies, because your solution is going to be loved by women if it has got feminine energy aspects within it. It's going to be loved by men also if it takes care of certain logic and sciences. So this is all work, especially for people like us, and for people in the world as well. And I'm becoming increasingly clear about this category of people who I call architects of New Earth. They are special people who are very ancient. Of course, they are in physical bodies. And I have seen that they don't go with the flow. They've got specific energy templates of what New Earth is about. They put in their time, effort, and they draw schematics. And in every day, even the Global Peace Initiative, it's got some architecture, some science, some logic to it. But in its outflow, it's going to go through the heart, through efforts of people. So you're going to have a wonderful program implemented by every peace ambassador if they will say, yes, I will be that vibration, what it takes to get it done in my country to the best that is possible. If you say, oh, I don't like technology and science, I'm just going to stand on the ground and sing songs and call out to people, and that's going to create a peace wave, That's also planned, but it's going to have a certain degree of effectivity. I have been doing this work since 2011, and for those who are picking up this energy in the signs, I am seeing that they have dissolved the divide between themselves. When they come to a meeting or to a platform, the remarks are never sexist. They never talk of capabilities in terms of a man or a woman, that, maybe she's not capable, maybe he, we relate to each other as beings. We see each other's vibration and potential, and we relate to that. And I've seen that once you heal this within yourself and you become a master of flowing, then unity consciousness streams out from you with every thought, word, and deed. I've seen people like this, and they don't need more than 10 minutes of meditation in an entire day. The entire day is meditative. It is in line. It is picking up what is being offered. It is burning through the sacred flame of transmutation. And what is the sacred flame of transmutation? It is a flame that's burning in your sacred heart, that observes and receives all negativity because it's there around the world. But it consumes it and makes it a fuel and brings out your own vibration of love, peace, and harmony in everything that you do. This is deeper learning in spiritual alchemy, and that's what I do in some of my programs. And just to state that these things can be done, you can change and enhance those energies of yours that are weak by many things. There are particular meditations, kriyas, practices, choices, and even vocations in life that can enhance your weak aspect and make you a more powerful and rounded human being. Even the most basic exercise I would advise is just to, the masculine, feminine energy that I put up, if you take a snap of it, just sit at home for a couple of nights for about 15 minutes and just stare at that paper. And it is going to do work for you. This is what I'm playing as a channeling that came from one of the archangels in 2013. I just want you to read it. I began to work with these energies in 2010, 2011. And with flowing, that's how I was able to transition from a very corporate life, very technical field of being an industrial engineer and a supply chain consultant, specialized in complex manufacturing. We were the top tier of the manufacturing industry. And I was able to turn around and move into a very different field of natural therapies and healing, leave a cosmopolitan city and come into the villages and live. Most of my friends in the corporate thought that is impossible and this guy is going to go out of his mind. But I went to Goa and used these energies to do something that I had never done before, even writing my book. I had never written a book in my life. And that book is going up against many big standards in the world. So I did impossible things from many people's perspectives. And even my family, people couldn't believe it and they rejected that this would happen. But now I've got a flourishing community over there. And there is something more detailed that is going on with the human body. I will not explain it too much. It's in a chapter in my book that's called Metaphysics of the Human Body. I only talk and explain about things when they have been missed. In fact, on the last page of my book I've written, if most of the health systems, the modern medical systems of the world today had done their work, and there was no illness in the world, I would never need to write this book. But because something is missing, that's why I did. And so this certain aspect of the human body is missing, so that's why I brought it out in my book. And it has relevance to our DNA, to what we are capable of and not capable of as well. This we know as the human body, and most of us know these are energy centers called chakras. But there's something going on with the human body as we grow up in our time cycle of the ages of our lives. This is what I call the natural flowering of the Kundalini energy that has not been happening for many centuries in the human body. And I'll explain why. And that is why we need so many yoga therapies, Kundalini yoga, and all of those practices to just get this being to function properly. So there's an energetic development that happens within the human body for every human being. And some of us who are very inward looking would have noticed some of this. So all these energy centers, they go into maturity every 7 years in life. And the human being is actually fully developed when, of course, physical development, we know that happens till the age of 20. But energetic development still continues. And this is the growth of intelligence or the inner soul energy coming and spreading throughout the human body. Now, unfortunately, this is not happening for so many human beings on the planet because of physical sickness and disease. Because these energy centers are not things that are metaphysical or just energy balls that have been put inside our body. They are operated by four very functional aspects of the human body, which I have detailed in my book. And those have got relevance to the organs and endocrine glands and certain functionalities of our body. And when you have sickness and disease happening at the rate that I'm going to explain, you will understand that we are beings working with very destroyed DNA. And what can you expect from such damaged beings? And this is the core of my book, one of the core topics on wellness in my book. Just highlighting it because it's not been highlighted. And for me, I saw this very clearly, that first you've got to get the human body functional in its deepest aspect. It's not going to happen unless you take care of this. So that's why we do all the programs on wellness with natural therapies. This is a picture from the First World Parliament on Spirituality, and the topic that I presented, because I could clearly see that yes, there are experts who are taking us into high levels of spirituality, and some people are so spiritual that they forget the physical body. Some people are becoming mind masters, hypnotism, neuro-linguistic programming, mind mapping, and they leave behind the intuition, the love. And then you got some people obsessed with the physical body who think physical body is everything. Look good, feel good, good sex, that's what life is about. What is God? What is spirituality? What is oneness? Why do we care about that? So we are having lopsided development. And I thought that the human being must have all-rounded development. I talk of us in the future as Aquarian avatars. Aquarian avatar is your future self, the one that you're going to be, the one who's going to bring the golden age and the 1,000 years of peace. It is not this current physical damaged DNA that is going to do it. And we've seen over the centuries there aren't any angels and fairies coming and doing it for us. We've got to do it ourselves. So we've got to learn these sciences, practice them, heal our own problems, and pass on this to the next generation. Hopefully in the next generation we can have children who are not sick at all till the age of 49, 50. And I say that would be our first batch of golden age beings. I also made a clear mention that unity in the age of Aquarius is going to be played out on themes. And I meant themes of human endeavor, like wellness, good environment, good education, good governance, things that are lacking, women's empowerment, good financial system. And it was my joy that just after the first World Parliament on Spirituality that Dr. Yugandhar invited me in a very small core team meeting where we devised the 14 wings of the World United. It was an even bigger honor when he asked me to be the secretary of the flagship wing, that is the World United Doctors and Healers Association. And I took it up and started doing programs through that wing. I became the editor of a magazine that eventually, I could not continue with after 1.5 years because I took in wing of the work of the other wings as well, in Goa, mostly locally where I was doing it. And we began hosting Mind, Body, Spirit festivals. The first I did wonderfully under the guidance as a co-convener with Dr. Yugandhar in 2013 in Hyderabad. After that, I was on autopilot, and 2014-15, the first time I did it as a conference. And look at the play of energies here. So for the conference, I didn't have many people come, and that was the target. Why? Because I use this word conference. And conference to the common man means it's for intellectuals, it's with people who are bothered about the subject, what it's got to do with us. So then I changed the energy of the program next year to a festival. And that brought in more of the experiential processes and performances, and then I had more people come in. Because that's what they wanted. Besides mind stuff, they wanted some heart stuff as well. So I have seen these energies working, and that's why I advocate them and implore people to explore them and use them, in everyday life. We've been doing a string of events, and we have 14 different health programs which are curing illnesses and reversing them, not just maintaining them. We had other wings also active, but they were not doing much work except education through e-magazines. So this was the Entrepreneurs Association. Like entrepreneurship, what is the new energy of collaboration and good principles where we can have entrepreneurs that bring out businesses that are good for the planet and good for people all over the world. The new education system also, which is a more heart-based system, closer to the Rudolf Steiner model of education. That's what we're trying to do in Goa as well, in our community. And finally, in Goa, these are the wings that I activated. And let me tell you, these spaces of collaboration, they are where people don't talk about religion, where I've come from, what I've done in life, what I have achieved. From the moment you're in the room or on site, you're talking about the solution. And everybody's bringing their creative energies, some masculine, some feminine, and it's being put together. And this is what I call 5-dimensional earth. So, this is something that I just wrote. The first one, of course, you've heard Mother Teresa sing. And I'm so glad to see that the Master Action Plan is not just talk, it's talking about details of doing certain things that are missing. And this is where I spend my time now, most of the time. I don't like to give talks and lectures. I'd rather be with people who are doing things. Lastly, I want to leave you with a blessing and an invocation. These are the 144 qualities of love that I received in an invocation in 2010. And a year after that, I started my spiritual work in the world. What you see in the middle is also known as the sacred Ankh in the Egyptian system. And it's also the Essene cross of salvation. If you look at the colors deeply in the center, it is showing the blue and red energies as the masculine and feminine energies from top to down and left to right as well. You have seen these before sometime, but you've not understood them. For those who have seen the portrait of the Divine Mercy of Jesus Christ, where he is putting his hand on his heart and the hand in the air, and there's blue and red light streaming from his heart. What he's saying truly is, this is what I am deep within. Are you up for it too? This is a riddle that I've written. And if you have truly traversed this, you will understand what this means. And from this you can see that light and love are not diametrically opposite. They are not separate. In fact, they facilitate each other. I call this science this alchemy of spirit. It's our personal energy and it's a deep inward journey. And I end here with my thanks and greetings and respect to all of you. The inner being that's within you respects me and I respect you. These are the symbols of my higher office. The first 8 symbolizes, this is the path of ascension. First 8 symbolizes the perfection in your physical body and energy balance and flow through your physical body. The second 8 symbolizes your left and right brain chemistry. When they come together and they're working well, you become divine principle in operation. You operate at the level of the divine, masculine and feminine. And this last circle is a soul group who come with this energy to the planet to do this kind of work. I'll end with my respects to the one behind the veil who's connected many of us and also made this parliament happen. Thank you everyone for your attention. God bless.
This is our award that we give to our speakers for the ones who were not here yesterday, and we'd like to give this to our Daryl D'Souza and then have you ring the gong.
Sorry, me? Sorry. I was too, sorry. I'm going.
All right, we have a short break now, and we have, when you come back, such a magnificent, gong. Oh, that was beautiful. Was that just in harmony with what he just shared with us? Let's give him another hand. How fabulous.